This man is insane. This is crazy. What's up, little enzymes? Welcome back to Dacia's Digest. The topic of today's video is going to be dogs are a man's best friend. Before we get started, I wanted to give a special shout out to Michelle, who bought me 3 coffees. Thank you so much, Michelle. They wrote a sweet little note that said, I hope that if it ever comes to posting a catastrophic life event on Reddit, that it is read by your soothing voice. That alone would probably make the situation better. Thanks for all your hard work and enjoyable commentary. I love your channel. Thank you. That is so sweet. Thank you so much. So, as always, everything is listed in the description. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And let's get into it. Trigger warning, because this first one has a content warning for harm of a pet resulting in injury. So if you're like sensitive to that type of stuff, just FYI. But let me go ahead and start. Am I the a-hole for refusing to get my daughter with severe social anxiety a service dog and forcing her to get a part-time job after what she did? Throwaway account, I don't want the whole family up in my business for this yet. All right, the title is long-winded, I know, but hear me out. My 45 female, daughter 15 female, suffers from severe social anxiety. It is incredibly crippling and has prevented her from many extracurriculars and even her education over the years. I left my job 5 years ago to start homeschooling her and have since put her in therapy. The therapist and I have been working on getting her into school more and more for the past year and a half. This is all to say, I am not trying to shame my daughter for her social anxiety at all. It is a debilitating thing to live with, and I can see that firsthand. Last month, the therapist recommended getting a service dog for my daughter in order to be able to help her navigate public settings better. Despite thinking this was a huge responsibility, I did see the excitement on my daughter's face. She really wanted a dog and seemed determined to continue her progress with the help of an animal. I was initially on board with this and started the necessary research required. However, a few weeks ago, I left my daughter with my sister-in-law for a few days because my mother was sick and I needed to visit her a few hours away, and my husband was on a work trip. The plan was for my sister-in-law to continue her homeschooling for as many hours as she could manage, but instead, I got a call from her 2 days in demanding I take my daughter back home. I came to find out that my sister-in-law had to leave the house for a few hours and asked my daughter to take care of her senior dog. The dog is very old and small. She was adopted just over a year ago, so she's still a bit weary of people. My daughter, in an attempt to recreate some stupid online video, took this senior dog to the roof of the house and left her there. Ciao. The poor thing was so scared, she went number 2 on herself on the roof, shaking while my daughter filmed. Of course, this didn't go to plan and the dog ended up falling off the roof and into the swimming pool out of sheer luck. Oh my goodness. Imagine if the swimming pool hadn't been there. Wow. However, due to her age and size, the dog ended up breaking a few ribs and her paw. What online video? I have not seen any online video challenge like this. Why would you even be on the roof of a house in the first place, let alone with an old dog? What? How old is this? 15. She should know better. She's old enough to know. She could have been hurt herself. Opie says, when I heard this, I was absolutely livid. I confronted my daughter immediately and she admitted to wanting to create a video she saw online. She then proceeded to use a defense that went along the lines of, that dog is old. If it were younger, then nothing would have happened. She also mentioned how she didn't really think what she did was that bad because it's an unloved shelter dog with no real value, like a service dog or newborn puppy. Wow, her daughter is a menace. To have that way of thinking about just an innocent dog. Ooh, she's ruthless. OP says, I have no idea where she learned this from, considering neither me or my husband share these beliefs. I instantly told my daughter that she would not be getting a service dog. I also told her that she would have to pay her aunt's vet bill no matter what it took. Because the bill is in the thousands, she will have to find a way to make that money. My daughter got upset and said I was being unfair because she can't get a job due to her social anxiety, but I told her she should have thought about that before doing what she did. My daughter has since then been attempting to search for a part-time job that requires minimal face-to-face interaction. Despite me and my husband helping her, she was only able to find a waitressing job. I asked my sister-in-law if she was okay with my daughter working the vet bill off instead, but she refused, saying she really had no interest in having my daughter anywhere near her house or dog again, and I honestly thought that was fair enough, so I told my daughter she had to find a way to stick with this because that vet bill was her responsibility only. My husband told me I might be an a-hole for suggesting our daughter pay off the entire bill and that we should probably just restrict her pocket money until the bill is paid off. I think that's not a good enough punishment because her pocket money isn't earned. It's what me and my husband give her for free time at the start of the week. Also, this bill is entirely her fault and therefore her responsibility. It's unfortunate that the only jobs available are in customer service, but what else can we do? My daughter's therapist also reached out saying she thinks it was wrong of me to completely take the service dog idea off the table, considering it is a medical necessity, as well as pointing out that suddenly forcing my daughter to an unfamiliar job may be a bit too daunting. Are my husband and my daughter's therapist right? Am I being too harsh on my daughter? Am I the a-hole? I don't think she's the a-hole, and I don't think she's being too harsh. I feel like with parenting, it's always difficult to figure out what punishment is best because you want the child to learn a lesson. Like, you want it to be a constructive punishment where they actually learn something from it. So I see where she's trying to go. Given her daughter's medical history though, maybe not giving her the pocket money would be enough until it gets up to that amount. Depending on how much the pocket money is, that might be a really long time. So she might not be able to do the things that she wants to do or spend a little extra money here and there for a while, which I think might be a good punishment. I also would take her phone away from her because obviously, or I don't know if she has a phone, but she says she saw some video online. I'm just assuming she had a phone. But whatever internet access allowed her to find this crazy random video, I would be taking that away. Limited internet phone time. She already is homeschooled, so I don't know if she has any clubs or anything that they can ground her from. But I might also make her volunteer at dog shelter, wherever you get the dog. I don't know what is it called, a dog shelter? Yeah, a shelter dog. Yeah, I might have her volunteer at one of those types of places too. Actually, maybe she can get a job at a dog shelter place because you would kind of have more interaction with the pets and not the people. That might allow her to earn money and also get her more familiar with, hopefully, the dogs and see that they really do have value and stuff. That might be an idea, but her behavior is a little concerning. The way that she talked about that dog, So this first person says, despite what the therapist says, I'm not sure that a legitimate service animal organization would approve an animal for your daughter. And someone said, nor should they. Another person responded, she injured an animal and only through luck didn't kill it. When called out on it, she blamed it on the dog being old instead of being appropriately remorseful. She should absolutely not have access to a dog. I do think potentially making her pay for the entire vet bills can be massive, is a little overkill, but she absolutely is not responsible enough to have a dog. I disagree with the second part. I think she absolutely 100% should be paying for the entire vet bill. She needs to learn actions have consequences. So you did this, you need to pay for the whole thing. Someone said, this is a little sociopath who has been coddled far too long. Yeah, the way she was talking about that dog, it was concerning. I don't know. I'm not a medical professional, so I'm not going to full out say she is a sociopath, but something is not right with this young girl. Someone responded, in OP's shoes, I'd be asking myself, how much of this is a legitimate social anxiety disorder, and how much is the frustration of having to interact with people who annoy her that she can't control, can't use, or manipulate to make herself feel good? Someone responded, as someone who is a specialist working in schools with kids with these issues, I did have such a case in the last 12 months. Also, exposure therapy is what works for social anxiety, unless there is then a plan to not solve it and avoid people forever. That's what I was kind of thinking. She says she's been staying home for 5 years. Anxiety is one of those things where the more you ignore it, the worse it gets. Like the more you avoid situations where you have anxiety, the worse it gets. So she does need a little bit of exposure. So people keep responding to that thread, and then someone says, OP, I hope you're reading these because this is exactly what is going on. And OP said, trust me, I am reading these comments. I'm heartbroken that this is the conclusion about my daughter, but I have to admit that some action absolutely needs to be taken. Something isn't right here, and I'll be showing this to my husband to make sure we take the right steps together. And then another person, I'd personally be switching psych doctors or therapists immediately if it were my child. I'd fire this one effective immediately. Whatever is going on with this therapist to not have any solid improvement after all this time tells me something isn't right. Absolutely no animals, not just because she did something naive and dangerous and caused harm, but because she didn't feel remorse. That's terrifying. There is something fundamentally missing, and a good doctor or therapist would have found that out by now, not encouraged a service dog after this went down. A new doctor ASAP should be at the top of the list. Mom to mom with special needs child, get a new doctor. So yeah, people are a little bit concerned about her daughter's actions. I am too. So let's go to the update. Okay, first off, I would like to say that although I was warned Reddit was absolutely brutal, you guys did not hold back. Shout out to the person who DM'd me telling me to unalive myself and my family. I would like everyone to know that I read almost every single comment, even if I didn't reply to all of them. Also, to clarify, when I said a service animal, I was told that we would be able to get one to alert my daughter of panic attacks and help calm her down. However, after now speaking to other resources, we were explained that what the therapist was talking about was an ESA, emotional support animal. Apologies for any confusion, this is new to me. And yes, where we live in America, psychologists can prescribe simple anxiety meds. And also yes, I obviously took away my daughter's phone and laptop after this. She's only allowed what she needs to complete her studies. On to the update. There was also a lot of helpful advice and support, so I do feel like I owe you guys an update. Me and my husband have been fighting for weeks now on how to handle this. We did end up taking her to a psychiatrist, and she was diagnosed severe social anxiety, as before, and also bipolar. We were told that the reason she wasn't diagnosed earlier is because she was far too young, and this is something that most likely only becomes visible very recently as she just hit puberty. So no, my daughter is not a sociopath. Sorry to disappoint. And yes, we were told to continue homeschooling as it's too late to put her in a school where everyone has already developed their own friendship groups, etc. I, once again, had to leave to care for my sick mother, which left my daughter with my husband. Apparently, while I was gone, my husband thought it was a genius idea to turn up to sister-in-law's house. What? And ask for my daughter to see the dog under supervision. What? Why would he do that? My sister-in-law didn't agree, but was coerced by my husband. This is what I'm assuming because despite what my husband says, I don't believe she would have been on board with this. My daughter started crying and apologizing, claiming she felt so sad seeing the broken senior pup too scared to come close to her. My husband has since decided that in light of this, my daughter deserves her emotional support animal. I completely disagree with his stance and believe that she needs more support, therapy, and a large range of resources not limited to an animal. Even if my daughter is genuinely sorry, this isn't a mistake that can be easily forgiven in a month. I still think we should be pushing her to continue a part-time job, something she's been beginning to do. She's been sent home from the restaurant a few times already for panic attacks and has even complained to vomiting during her breaks. Complained to vomiting? I don't understand. I told her she's welcome to search for other jobs she might find easier, which she has started to do, although it's been almost 3 weeks of working, and I have asked her to do this a minimum of 2 months before quitting and finding something else. She's also not allowed to quit unless she comes to me with a different plan to pay the money back. My husband told me he has started the application process for an ESA. Edit to add, by application, I mean he has contacted the local shelters and started filling out their application process. I was very angry and asked him to stop, but he argued that he thinks he should take over her care from now on and quit his job while I work instead. Now, that's doing a little much. I disagree because I'm the one who has been handling it for 6 years, but apparently I don't truly understand just how sorry she is. In light of this, I contacted my sister-in-law and told her I think it would be best to file a police report. I do want this on record because, as many of you said, they won't give my daughter an animal if they find out about this. She agreed and did file a report, which was totally heartbreaking for me. It really hurts to have to do something like this to my daughter. My husband did find out, and we've been arguing for days. He's incredibly angry, but I'm attempting to stick with this. I'm not sure how the next few weeks will pan out, but I will say that I'm incredibly worried for the future. I have no idea what to do or how to get my husband to see my side. This is very concerning, but thank you for listening, Reddit. And for those of you who gave advice and support, I really, really appreciate it. Yeah, this is a mess. Ooh, sounds like their relationship might not survive this little mishap. Or I don't know, she is 15. But I mean, I do agree. I'm glad they got a new therapist. It's interesting that the father, husband, whatever, now wants to like take over because he obviously doesn't trust that the wife is doing a good job. I mean, if I were the wife, I might low-key be like, okay, you could take a stab at it. If you think I'm not doing a good job, you could try. It may or may not help, but shoot, maybe she could use a little bit of a break. But yikes. So for some comments, someone said, this is a hill I would die on. That girl does not deserve a dog, and you did the right thing telling sister-in-law to file that report. I know that's hard for you, but it was in fact the correct thing. Your husband is being a Disney dad, and in the long run, that's not going to help your daughter at all. Hopefully, real-life consequences will show her how wrong exactly what she did is. Somebody said the husband looks like a real a-hole here. What he does is a band-aid for the immediate situation, but is highly damaging to both his daughter and her relationship with her parents. This teaches her very bad lessons that can backfire horribly. Yeah, I think the husband is a bit clueless, and as I never heard Disney dad as a descriptive term. But yeah, the husband seems to be a little bit naive to like what's really going on. They're gonna have to figure it out because she's already 15. So like what's gonna happen when she turns 18? If she's not able to work a job now, do y'all plan on her staying in the house? Like if she's still having social anxiety, y'all got 3 years to kind of like figure it out. Not saying you have to kick her out as soon as she turns 18, but like, is she gonna be living at home forever? Like, what's gonna be like, what y'all gonna do? Someone said he's choosing to ignore the situation. If she can't handle working a few hours, what's her plan? Is daddy supporting her forever? Because when they divorce over this, stepmom won't put up with this. OP, get a new therapist because this therapist is not helping your daughter. There's schools that will help students like yours. This therapist is enabling your daughter, so they want her to get a third new therapist. They say my stepdaughter goes to a school specializing in kids with issues, and she's in a class with 6 people only, so they definitely exist. I would call the local school district to find out about resources and support because at this point it's harm. I would also see about getting a new therapist and reporting this one because there's no reason your daughter is vomiting by being forced to socialize and can't go back and integrate into a new school. This is the result of her being over-coddled, which it sounds like your husband has been doing. Get a new therapist. Bring the police report and the files from the old therapist where she says not to send your daughter back, and see the shocked look of the new therapist because no one certified and worth their salt would allow this. If you called to report her and said everything you have in these 2 Reddit posts, she'd lose her license. Someone agreed. Ooh, yeah, this is tough. From the outside looking in, it does seem to be that they're coddling her, but I also don't know much about how severe social anxiety and all that stuff is. It does seem that they should have tried a little bit harder to get her integrated with the real world sooner, but I don't know. She doesn't have any additional posts yet. So we'll go to the next one for now. This one also has a content warning for pet endangerment, pet napping, gaslighting, toxic, controlling, and harmful family harassment and homophobia. Oh, Lord. Am I being the a-hole for not trusting my boyfriend anymore after he lied to me? My dog is a little troublemaker. I, female 35, love the booger, but my goodness. Last week, she got out of the backyard while I was busy cooking my boyfriend's dinner for his birthday. My boyfriend, Mike, male 40, let the dog out during this time and didn't stay out with the digging troublemaker. When I went to call her back in, she was nowhere to be found. I live in an active city on an active road, and I naturally was worried about her, but my boyfriend said she should be fine as we are well known in the neighborhood for our clockwork walks, and someone will see her and bring her back. I went out to look for her anyway, but couldn't find her. I didn't find her for 48 hours, and I was crying from the stress. She's been my dog for 7 years, and I know it sounds odd to some, but she's my girl, my bestie, and I love the crap out of her. I would sob worrying she was injured or worse on the side of the road. Boyfriend said he tried to track the microchip, but it for some reason wouldn't work, and her leash had a tag on it with her location, but boyfriend didn't put it on her because, as he explained, she was just going outside. I have a new neighbor, a female 30-something, Josie, and turned out she had my dog. She found her tagless, wandering her yard 3 doors down from me and didn't know her or me at all, so took her to the local vet who recognized my girl and called me. So my little troublemaker was returned to me. I was overjoyed and was thanking Josie profusely, explaining how worried I was, and my boyfriend audibly sighed from behind me and said, "Well, thank goodness that's over. She ruined my birthday with that stunt." What? Dude is a hater. When Josie saw him, she looked confused but didn't say anything until I walked her out. She told me, "You might not believe me, but he told me last night that you don't have pets." I was confused by this and kind of didn't believe her, but it nagged at me, so I checked our doorbell camera footage, and there it was, clear as day. While I was out looking for my dog, Josie is showing him a photo and asking if he knew this dog, and he said no, that we don't have dogs and suggested calling animal control. I woke my boyfriend up as he was asleep by this point on the couch and questioned him about this. He denied it, saying Josie is trying to stir up trouble and I have my dog, so things should go back to normal now. And he slipped in that he deserves a makeup day for his ruined birthday. When I told him about the footage, I could see him get really still, and then he admitted to it. He said my dog is old, she's 8, so he was trying to spare me since she will probably die soon, and he wants us to think about the future, not the past, and my dog is indicative of my past. Oh, wow. Not him being jealous about a dog. I told him this made 0 sense to me. He saw me dang near fall apart, worried about my dog, and now I can't so much as trust he didn't have anything more to do with her disappearing. He lost it at that, saying he just knew I would find a way to blame him for this and shouted, "You love that dog more than you love me." Oh, brother. You're probably right. Yeah, I do. And I told him that he's the a-hole and a coward for lying and not being honest about clearly not liking my dog for the past year. Then I asked him to leave. He stared at me like, "You're really gonna kick me out right now over a dog?" And I said, "Absolutely." And he cussed me out and went to his place. I haven't read the texts he's been sending me, but it's been a lot of them. He's been gone 7 hours and I have 27 text notifications from him. He's talked to my brother, Blair, who called me to tell me I hurt Mike for caring more about an animal than him and not being able to just shut the F up, be an adult, and celebrate my boyfriend's birthday. Whoa, these people are callous. I'm confused because we've been together a bit over a year and I spoiled the heck out of him. We met because of my dog, and he seemed to really adore her this entire time. My brother, though, doesn't much like me these days, so I can't really tell if he's right and I'm the a-hole, or he and Mike are just a-holes. So, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, and your brother and Mike are 2 peas in a pod. Who says that? Some people's pets are like their literal children. And I know people with children sometimes get mad when people say that, but it's true. Like, some people's pets are with them all the time. They care for them, they feed them, they take care of them, they take them to the doctor, they take them to, play date. They do all the things that you would do for a child for their dog. So they get really attached. I want a dog myself, but I be doing too much. I can't do it right now. But yeah, it's like a real bond. He seems to be jealous of. I wonder if she got the dog with like an ex or something, but the boyfriend seems to be jealous of the dog, which is crazy. And then for the brother to say that. So a couple comments, not the a-hole. I'm not even a dog person, but he knew you were upset and heartbroken, and he decided for you that it was better for him. That's just a-hole behavior. Someone said, I'm a little confused. You said he liked her? And what do you mean when you say he was good to you before? Is this a sudden change? OP responded, sorry, it was just that he was sweet, really sweet. When we met, he first went to her and pet her and complimented about how cute she was and how well trained. His brother is a vet and he said that he loves dogs. He used to run my baths, hype me up, come to events for me, and now he's like this. Yeah, you say y'all been together for a year? The cracks are starting to show. He can't keep up the facade anymore. That's what it seems like. So that first post was July 30th. The next one was August 1st, 2 days later. After my post, my boyfriend showed up at my door the next day with flowers and dog treats. I didn't let him in, but talked through my screen door. He said he had time to think and was ashamed of his behavior and very sorry. He explained that he had abandonment issues and got scared when a friend put the idea in his head that I love my dog more than him. The friend, turns out, is my brother Blair. What is going on? Your own brother is an op. What is going on? I told him I wasn't ready to deal with him yet, and he asked why not, and I explained from my perspective. Everything sort of like my last post. and then added that he shows up without letting me know he was coming, and he didn't let me even speak, just launched into this grand apology. When I said I don't trust him right now, he started crying, and I mean the ugly, hysterical kind. He said this stemmed from his mother leaving the family. From what I know of the story, she walked out on him and his family when he was 13, and that I am his person and he loves me and just lost his mind a little. Sir, you are 40 years old. If you don't know how not to be manipulated by just things that people say by now, there's not much I can do that's going to help you. You need to go on that journey on your own without me. OP writes that he said, "It's one mistake. One. I'm sorry." He kept saying it over and over, and maybe I'm a broken person, but I didn't feel anything in the moment. I watched him crying and saying sorry and basically groveling, and I just wasn't having any of it. I said we need to talk, but I wasn't ready to have that talk at the moment and needed space. He begged me to let him in and only left when some neighbors came by to ask if everything was okay, and he just snapped and told them to F off and left. Not sure what I'm even doing anymore or what I will do with him or my brother. For now, I am just sitting in a local restaurant patio with my dog, sipping margaritas and trying not to cry. WTF. So this is a quite long comment here. This person says, "So I'm going to be a little mean and harsh here, and I apologize in advance for that, but I saw your first post before, and this update just isn't it right now. You say you're not sure what you're even doing anymore or what you will do with him or your brother. What you do with him? You leave him. This man lied to you and your neighborhood. God only knows what would have happened if your vet didn't recognize your dog to steer Josie back to talk to you again, or if you were not home and your hopefully soon-to-be ex told her again that you don't have animals. For that much, how sure are you that he doesn't harm your dog? He seems unstable and has resentment about her, clearly. This man is manipulating you. If he has trauma, he can get therapy, but that doesn't excuse trying to get rid of your beloved pet and make the day about his stupid birthday. He doesn't treat you with respect and thinks flowers will fix it, and if not, guilting you by his sob story. I am so mad for you and your dog right now, I can barely stand it. And please, for the love of all things holy, do not give her those treats. I would not trust that he didn't put something harmful in them to further endanger your girl. This guy sounds crazy enough to do it. So here is where I will be harsher. Dump him! I have a sweet partner that I adore, but if he did this, I would kick him to several curbs and I would put him on blast about it so everyone we knew is aware that he is an animal harmer who gaslights and disrespects women. Phew, I need a freaking glass of wine after this. What a grade A a-hole. I hope your next update is about how you ditched him. You deserve better, and so does your dog. And then OP responded, "Sorry, this was a little upsetting, but honestly not as harsh as I expected, LOL. If this is your harsh, I think you're likely a sweet person. I wanted to address at least some of your comment, but full disclosure, some really bothered me, and I can't quite take that on yet, but I'm starting to agree with folks in the comments that my boyfriend is actually my ex, so here goes nothing. Maximum effort. When you mentioned God only knows what would have happened if my vet didn't recognize my dog to steer the neighbor back to talk to me again, I think about this a lot. Josie is a kind human, and I now know that she's a lifelong dog lover and adopter. She just lost both her Labradors very suddenly, and my booger also loves her a lot and gets all excited anytime she walks by my house, which turns out is a lot as she walks to clear her head when her job gets too stressful. In my mind, I have rolled every scenario of where my dog was and what happened to her the whole time I couldn't find her. My brain went into dark directions and I was a wreck, and my boyfriend was just so dismissive of my concerns. I mean, she could have been run over by a car, eaten something that could make her horribly sick, anything. Playing it back now, remembering all he said and did during this time, I just don't like this guy, and I have a hard time ever trusting him again. I'm getting to the vengeful part of my brain, and I can't even start. Tequila is a heck of a thing, and I think it's contributing to me wanting to do things I would never dream most of the time. As I sit here with my baby, my sweet girl, who looks at me with such unfiltered love and devotion, I can imagine trusting her with a man who cared so little about her that he would toss her to fate. As for the treats, I tossed them out, like dumpster out. I sadly had the same concern. I forgot to mention in my post, but he tried to call my dog over and open the door to give her the treats, so the box was opened when I opened the door to speak to him. I have no way of knowing for sure if he wants to see her harmed, so I don't know what's in that box, and I tossed it. Another comment said, no, heck no. You can't still be entertaining the idea of taking this guy back, right? Right? And what the heck is with your freaking brother? What is this guy's damage? OP responded, my brother Blair and I used to be close, but I am queer and came out over 5 years ago, and he also came out as a homophobe. Oh, I can't really get into it all because it is a lot, but suffice it to say, our relationship went downhill when his bigotry started to show. I guess that makes me an idiot because when he introduced me to my boyfriend, I should have been suspicious. He was so supportive of us, and my boyfriend was sweet and kind and never had a problem with my open queerness and never got insecure or weird about it. He came with me to Pride events and would post about it on social media. We wore matching rainbow outfits and the works. Now I don't trust it. Oh my goodness. So the brother introduced her to the boyfriend, and the brother is a bigot. Sound like the brother got his own things he need to come to terms with, because I just don't get how people are bigots. There's one thing with being like, I don't really understand, or, something, but like to hate someone for like the type of lifestyle they lead and just be to let it bother you so much. Really, oftentimes it's because it's something within yourself that you have to come to terms with, in my opinion. But anyways, so 3 weeks later, 5 weeks after the original post, update 3. Hi, it's your super messy friend with her super a-hole ex. I don't much want to get into it, but kinda need to vent, and some of you, well, most of you, have been really helpful and insightful. Mike has been weaving the narrative that I am mentally ill. He knows I suffer from depression and PTSD, and for whatever reason, he is saying I was or am a misdiagnosed schizophrenic. What? It was relentless, and Blair and Dad have been backing him. It got to the point that I had had enough and hired a lawyer. Now, wait a minute. What does he gain from calling OP a misdiagnosed schizophrenic? What is the end goal here? Like, why even do that? That don't make no sense. And then the dad and brother are joining in on it? What is going on here? She said, cease and desist and 1 restraining order. My father is such a psycho, long story. Later, and Mike is back on my doorstep. What? He might be the schizophrenic. What? He is now demanding that Booger is his dog too, and he has rights to her, and he is worried about her safety with such a mentally unstable parent. Me, it seems. So I said, oh, and did I mention this is all through DoorCam? That I now have footage again of him being the unstable one and his weird manipulative threat, on top of me having actual footage of him saying he doesn't even have a pet, and this would debunk him. I don't know all of what happened because the feed cut out, but it looks like this man lost his freaking mind and dismantled my Ring camera. At least without my other cameras he did not know were then installed, showing him doing so. Good thing I have a lawyer. I just don't. What is he trying to do? Like, why is he still Why does he? I'm confused. Why would he still want to be? It's just, is it a control thing? Because she's obviously doesn't want to be with you anymore, but now you're spreading all these lies, getting her brother and dad into it, now trying to get partial custody of the dog. For what? For what reason? What was the reason? So another update a week and a half later, which was 7 weeks after the original post. Update 4, this is going to be long because I am so freaking livid. TLDR, Mike is making breaking up utter hell and stole my dog. Now I've had to move for my and my dog's safety. Child. I am flabbergasted. She says, has it even been 2 weeks? Now this. A single freaking day after my last post, I was packing up for an impromptu trip Aria was taking me on, partly to help me relax and partly to get me the heck out of that dang house so my father, brother, and ex would not know where I was. As such, I got Booger to the groomers. We planned to be away a while and she was due anyway. I thought I was being a responsible dog mom, and I'm an idiot because I was so frazzled about everything else, I completely forgot to tell them that Mike is not permitted anymore to pick her up. So I go to run errands while Booger got her spa treatments. Don't you dare judge me. She deserves a spa treatment every once in a while. Being a couch potato is stressful, grueling work, you know. And when I return, I am told by the front desk that your husband picked her up. I swear to you, my voice simply stopped existing. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't speak. I just crumpled to the ground and sobbed. He knew the groomer, knew the staff. He would sometimes pick her up for me back when we were together, and I didn't protect my baby by preempting this. How could I have been so freaking stupid? His life mission is getting rid of her. It should have been one of the first things I did. I removed him everywhere else, and I don't know how I missed this. Girl, don't be too hard on yourself. It's a lot going on. I could see how you could miss like a small thing like this, especially if she doesn't go to this place every single day, more so like a once in a while type of thing. I could see how you can miss it. Don't be too hard on yourself. The staff had come around the desk to help me to a chair, and I just wailed. I think I managed to say enough. The police were called, and I could barely even speak to them. They asked if there was someone I could call, any family, and I cried more. I have no one. If anything, my father and maybe my brother would help Mike do this. I managed to think and call Aria, and she was on her way, but it was then I looked at my phone. He had texted me. The a-hole actually texted me, starting with, "Hi, baby," as if everything that happened in all this time was absolutely non-existent. He said not to worry, he has Booger as he picked her up for you, and he is cooking us dinner at his place, and I can pick her up after dinner. Then he ended it with, "Love you, kissy face." This man is insane. This is crazy. This is not normal behavior. This is what? He's just texting her as if nothing is wrong. "Oh, hi. Hey, honey, I picked the dog up. Meet me for dinner at the house. You can come." Mind you, it's been, well, at this point, it was about 6 weeks since they had broken up. She says, "It was so unfreaking believable. I could only just show the cops. One of them asked if they can look through my chat history, and I said yes and unlocked all the features, and she did. I had forgotten all the harmful, manipulative, and awful things that idiot texted me because the cop just pulled a colleague aside and showed him the screen a few times. I saw him look back at me a couple times and he left the building. When he returned, he asked if I had called the police about Mike before, and I said yes. He went through all the times I called in, and I confirmed and told him some of it verbally then. Aria arrived and she gave her own rendition of the situation and stuck it to them that we did everything we were supposed to do by calling them about this, and we were told they would not help. If Booger is hurt, she will raise an unholy inferno over their useless department. She started to take charge in the absence of my ability to, and asked what they planned to do. they needed paperwork. Booger's papers are all in my name, and the groomer is attached to the vet who provided the adoption and intake paperwork of Booger, which proved I was her sole owner legally. The police went to his home to get Booger, and what I understand to have happened, because I was not there and was only told the official story, Mike let them in, showed the dinner he made. He seemed confused and didn't understand why the police were involved. He made it out that we had a bad spat, but we're working it out, and I'm mentally unstable and heavily medicated. And I told him of the groomer's appointment and asked him to pick my dog up. They asked where Booger was, and he said he didn't have her anymore, as my family picked her up so that he and I can have a private, intimate night to make up and work on our relationship. I was home waiting, and I had to deal with another cop coming by and asking me about my mental health and if I'm a danger to myself or anyone, because Mike said that he is concerned and that I'm unpredictable and harmful. Once again, I showed the text and some footage of it being the polar opposite, and once again, I explained that all of what I was showing him and more, I've already turned over to the police. By now, I had reached my lawyer, who advised I answer any and all questions pertaining to this specific situation, getting my dog back, and nothing more, so I shut up and simply provided info necessary to this. They found Booger at Blair's, but now Blair had his own story, that I was mentally unstable and unable to care for her, so I asked him to take Booger to a shelter as I didn't have the heart to do it myself. He couldn't provide any proof, so they took Booger with them and brought her home. Booger came for me immediately, straining against the leash to get to me, and I cried on my front step, apologizing to her as if she understood what all just happened. But she was happy and excited. I bet she loved being in a cop cruiser. She was just happy to be alive per usual. The policewoman who handed me her leash gave us information on where to get the paperwork about today's events and said she cannot offer me legal advice, but to be sure to lock everything up tonight and to call if anything happens. I did take Booger to the vet, and the tests that have come back show she is perfectly fine. I've now packed up the majority of my house, and what is not in storage has been moved to Aria's. I am working on preparing to sell it. I can't even imagine going back to that dang place. Mike left me a voicemail lamenting that I sicked the police on him when all he ever tried to do was love me. How patient he has been with my mental illness and my obsession with my mutt. But he now is seeing that my father was right. I don't deserve him. I will never find anyone like him who will love me because I don't deserve love. And when I realize what I've lost, all due to my self-centered attitude, I better hope he hasn't moved on. This guy, whoa. How are all three men crazy? What the heck? But he's there if I ever decided to grow up and be a real woman and try to fix this with him. But he's not going to wait around forever. An emergency protective order was pushed through thanks to my lawyer. From Mike and Blair, Blair was stupid enough to blow up my phone after the police took Booger to berate me. I don't know what he said, as I just forwarded everything to my lawyer. My father lost it, I'm told, but I wouldn't know. He doesn't know where I am and has no way to reach me now. Mike is trying to Uno reverse my domestic harm complaints and says I am the one harming him, and that's why he fled to his place. He maintains that I asked him to take Booger, and Blair is backing him up. My lawyer says not to worry because no one is taking the claim seriously since we have so much overwhelming documentation of both of them harassing me. I was not expecting this. I've been at Aria's and we are taking the trip tomorrow. Booger is a road dog and loves car rides, so I know she will be very excited. The city we are going to is incredibly dog-friendly, so she will be with us every step of the way. I'm not letting her out of my sight. Aria helped me go through every bit of info and make sure Mike is removed off of everything now. all Booger's appointments, all my medical paperwork, all package sign-offs, you name it. All mail and packages are being rerouted to Aria's, and Mike doesn't know where that is. She has another home she rents out as an Airbnb, so once the current tenants are out, she is setting me up to stay there until I find a new job out of town and move. I'm just glad to have her with me right now because I haven't been able to sleep. I have barely been able to even be around food, let alone eat it. Booger was gone for maybe a total of 5 hours as a whole, but I swear it was like a lifetime. I've set virtual appointments with my counseling team and might need to get something to help me sleep. But last night, Booger lopped up into the bed with me and just plopped down and snuggled beside me. I think she knows I'm stressed and the only clear cure is cuddles. She's not entirely wrong. My mind is racing because what would have happened if I didn't already have a lawyer pushing the return of my dog along? Or Aria, who was speaking up for me when I was a useless freaking blob on the floor crying and accomplishing absolutely nothing. I feel like a failure because it was the time for me to get things done and all I did was cry like a child. Booger deserves better than me. What if he had decided in those hours to just get rid of her or do worse? What was the whole plan and why the heck would Blair help him? I know he doesn't like me, but geez. All I know for now is I'm no contact with all 3 of those idiots, and by the time my protective order's up for review next month, new job or not, I will have yanked every root I placed down here and get the freak out of here. This is... whoa. Does she have any other... oh my goodness, she has more recent... oh my goodness, she has another update. Oh goodness, okay, we have to read this. There's 2 more updates. So just 2 days ago, I'm recording this on September 24th. So this was September 22nd. And this was also about 4 days after that last most recent update. So she says, I tried a trigger warning for harm, ABUSE. I tried to edit this into my last post, but it kept giving me an error and I'm too upset and frazzled to puzzle out why. Mike, Blair, and Dad have stepped it up. In the past 3 days alone, this is what's happened. My father has posted in several groups on several social media pages a photo of me asking if anyone has seen me as I have gone missing. What? He's put my medical information out there regarding my mental health and stretched the truth so hard I'm surprised he didn't pull a muscle. In his narrative, I am off my meds, acting irrationally, and have now gone missing after attacking my brother. What? My lawyer has told me not to worry and that she will have the police take care of it because he is violating his restraining order by doing this. I've been getting calls and texts from multiple numbers. The messages are mostly the same. I don't deserve love. Oh, ooh, wow. When I was intimately harmed in the past, it was my fault or made up because who would want me? I need to take what I can get. I'm embarrassing, insane, unstable, need medication, and on and on. I know one of them either was my dad or sent by my dad because his favorite insult. Oh my goodness, what? What is wrong with this man? I'm not even gonna say that. His favorite insult came up more than once. He used to say that to me when I was growing up if I didn't do what he said or tried to change my look in any way. I would cry and then he would strike me and tell me that my mother was resilient and why can't I be? He'd call me weak. Oh my, this is too much. He'd call me weak and tell me crying is harmful to him because I was just trying to emotionally manipulate him. He also did some other manipulative and gaslighting stuff that I don't even want to read because it's making me sad. Oh my goodness. My family on my dad's side have also been coming out of the woodworks to harass me and tell me how bad of a girlfriend, sister, or daughter I am. Some have been fed distorted renditions of what actually happened. Blair told a cousin that I harm Booger and he tried to take her to keep her safe. My cousin didn't believe him because she knows Blair and Dad and how they treated me. She called me only to tell me what was happening, and she also sent me an email to forward to my lawyer. Yesterday, I got another harmful text. I guess that was the breaking point for me because I was gasping for air, trying to keep myself upright, and Aria had sat me down and got me anxiety medication to calm me down. It's unrelenting. It sent me on a spiral. Aria kept me company, and we went to every stop on her itinerary for the day. I was able to breathe after a while. Between her and Booger, I was in good company. I get back to therapy tomorrow morning. I swear I'm going to put my therapist on the Fortune 500 list with this laundry list of issues. Blair isn't permitted to talk to me, and neither is Mike or my father, but I keep worrying they will pop up somewhere. It's hard to even think this is all over an 8-year-old cuddle bug who literally doesn't have a bad bone on her wiggly body. Blair has never been this bad before, and it's not that long ago I thought Mike loved me and would never hurt me. I feel like I'm going as crazy as they are trying to make me out to be. I have no idea how to even go into work tomorrow like nothing happened. I already emailed our HR rep about the situation in case they try to pull some sort of stunt. I'm paranoid and keep looking around expecting them to be right behind me. All I can do is keep cuddling Booger and hold fast to Aria and her partner Beth, who have been a dream. Good thing I didn't figure out how to add this to my last post because now that it's written out, it's longer than I expected. Sorry. This is a nightmare. Oh my goodness. Someone said, please, for your health, have Aria get you a burner phone in her name only, as your family could connect to you again if you get a new one yourself. Keep the old one for proof of harassment, but disconnect from them literally. Have you posted a copy of your restraining order, properly redacted and tagged all the relevant people? Put them on blast. Also, do not email anyone from a computer. I can't remember the technical terms for it, but a person can find you within the block using the information coded in an email, so do not email anyone like that. Oh my goodness. That's some good advice though. I'd be ready to move to another country immediately. Like, I wouldn't be able to handle this at all. As she said, she's starting to feel paranoid and crazy. I would feel the same way. You're going out of your way, telling people I'm missing, posting my medical advice. I already have a restraining order against you. Now you're texting me and berating me, all this stuff. For what? What is the reason? I just don't understand. So then she has another post where she's venting and she's kind of explaining more of the history of her and the dad. So she doesn't know much about the mother, but she does know the dad was harmful to the mother as well. When the mother was pregnant with her, she actually wanted to end the pregnancy, but the dad tracked her down and I guess, convinced her, whatever, to go through with it, and she ended up passing away during the birth. So she's saying the dad has blamed her since day one for that, and unfortunately, she looks just like her mother. So I'm sure that probably makes it even worse. She said as long as she could remember, her dad was obsessed with how she looked. He would never let her change her appearance at all. So it almost seems like he kind of had I don't know what the word would be, but not replacing her with her mother, but I don't know what the word is. She said he even made her wear framed non-prescription glasses that looked like her mother's, bought her clothes in her style or the style that she wore when they were together. That is not normal at all. Wow. She said her mother liked to paint, so her dad forced her into paint lessons. She liked to play the piano to clear her head, so now OP plays the piano. Basically, I feel like the dad was obsessed with the mother. OP came out looking like the mother, but also was inadvertently the cause of the mother's passing. So now basically the dad is trying to replace the mother with OP, but is also mad at OP because she's the reason why the mother is no longer there, inadvertently. She also has two other siblings, Theodora, the dad drove her away, and another brother, Jack, that he drove away. So now he only has OP and then Blair, the harmful brother. And she's saying she doesn't really know why Blair is like the chosen one, but she also does mention that Blair looks like the dad, so maybe that's why. And yeah, that's pretty much the summary of that. OP. I'm glad you have your friend to lean on. I'm glad you have your dog back. I think the other person had great advice to get a burner phone and give the number out sparingly. Honestly, just cut that other phone off. I would just give it to the lawyer. Like, just give it to the lawyer, let the lawyer get all the notifications and whatever, so you don't have to be inundated with all that harmful stuff that they're doing. It's just wild. Oh my. Well, let's go ahead and go to the palate cleanser. Goodness gracious. So before we do that, just a reminder to like, comment, and subscribe. I saw this post on the Made Me Smile subreddit, and I just thought it was so cute. So the caption says, "Possibly the sweetest act of kindness I've seen. A family had electricians in every week for the past 6 weeks, and their little boy was obsessed with them. He hounded them with questions, kindness, and constant offers to help. The little boy just received this from them." And it's a picture of a pay slip. So the electricians have given the little boy his own little pay slip for the work that he did. And the total is 15 pounds. So there's like a 10-pound note and a 5-pound note. And in the line items, it says, "For the completion of the following jobs: measuring of items, £1.50, counting and adding up number of sockets, £1.50, catering yummy cookies, £1.50, excellent volunteering, £1.50, and quality assurance, asking lots of questions, £9." And they have it like on their formal company letterhead with his name and like in this little envelope. That I just thought that was so cute. He probably like was so happy to receive that. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.